Twitch chat has any sort of theme tune.
Right, here
We are live.
I think have the players made mulligan decisions? Are we live?
I think we're live. Well, either way, we're looking at the players here. This is Chris and Mark. For those of you that don't know, these are the people that you see down there. You see the tops of their heads and the hands. These are their faces.
Yeah,
Mark Winckle, level 2 judge, based in the Liverpool area. Chris Vincent, PPTQ grinder, based in Yorkshire. And excellent DM, if anyone's interested. I mean, Chris's D&D game.
DM?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
good guy, Chris. Sure. We're seeing this matchup. So, Sneak and Show versus Miracles. This is old school legacy. This is like
from a few years ago.
Down and dirty.
Classic.
Chris, Mark Winckle, of course, playing the sort of slightly newer version, which is amalgamation of Omni Show and Sneak Attack and just Show and Tell. It's sort of playing a range of different avenues that works like a traditional Show and Tell deck, putting in a big fatty or casting Emrakul. Chris, on the other hand, we've seen a bit of Chris's on action.
Yeah, I've seen Chris play a lot of Miracles, and he seems very confident on what he's doing. I think he's quite comfortable in this matchup.
He is, yeah.
I think in this classic matchup, Miracles is usually favoured because they have a lot of permission in their counter spells, and they also have the Sensei's Talk counterbalance soft lock, which is very good against a lot of decks actually.
It is. A lot of legacy. So Mark still, even though Mark's got these big fatties that cost 7, 8, 15 mana, he still has to make them via a 3-mana sorcery.
Yes.
And that 3-mana sorcery is very vulnerable to counterbalance. I mean, Chris has a range of 3 converted mana cost cards in his deck, specifically Monastery Mentor and no Council Judgment, so just the Monastery Mentors.
I feel like I have the rule.
You do, it's this one. Right. And
isn't it?
That works such that he can find... We'll get the other one as we go.
Oh, okay,
meanwhile, Mark Winckle has some permission of his own. He can disrupt counterbalance lock, but once it's resolved, it's really difficult for him to deal with. Outside of red elemental blasts, which are
a good thing about Sneak and Show is they can make a lot of fast mana off their Lotus Petals, and if they're usually playing City Traders and Ancient Tomb, so they can come off very quickly and get a quick Show and Tell, get the Emrakul into play, and it's very hard for.
I mean, the Dream Hand kills on turn 1. This isn't really a turn 1 deck, but you can go Soul Land, Lotus Petal, Sneak Attack, Lotus Petal, 2 fatties, but it's pretty rare.
It looks like we're going down to the games here. Players are drawing up hands.
So Mark Winckle is first seed and will play, I believe. He draws his opening 7. So Sneak Attack, a deck that mulligans quite well. You're sort of trying to find a 2-card combo.
And you only just mana on top of that. You can usually find some cantrips that can dig you into the pieces you need, but Miracles, on the other hand, I think it also mulligans quite well. Is really all you need is matchup permission. But unfortunately, if you draw a lot of removal spells, they're basically dead in this matchup because you can't really target Emrakul with them, and you can't target Omniscience at all. So.
No, you do have the fringe ability to assault Splash as a Grizzlebrand, but usually you've lost the game.
Never really comes up. You know, if they cast a Grizzlebrand, they're drawing 7. You can't really battle that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, Skull and Time Petal go.
So I suppose. Slow start from Mark. You're kind of expecting a cantrip, but if he's gone Petals, Tarn, generally his hand's going to be quite strong if he's kept it.
Yeah.
So I can imagine like a turn 2 Show and Tell.
Yeah. The fact that he doesn't have a turn 1 cantrip means that he probably has everything that he wants already in his hand, which is scary from Chris's side of the table. It could also be that his hand's utter trash.
Yeah. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but he hasn't kept a completely awful hand.
I think I can see a Cunning Wish in Mark's hand. We'll look forward to being able to have access to Mark's wish board shortly.
Yes, as currently we do not have a deck list in front of us. We have Chris's deck list, so we can give a
brief overview of the sort of cards that he wants to have access to. We've still got the 4 Terminus, 4 Soul Splashes. We talked about how Sword's not the best.
There's nothing really spicy in Chris's list apart from 2 Engineered Explosives. But everything else is just Snapcasters, Mentors, just classic stuff in Miracles. Yeah,
lots of 3s and 4s offs. Interestingly, Mark's play of Petal Go isn't great against Engineered Explosives from Chris. He can pop that for 0.
He can.
That's pretty much the only reason it's good in this matchup.
Well, it's kind of better than things like Swords and Terminus, so it's not awful.
Yeah.
I didn't think he's drawn an Engineered Explosive. I think I saw Chris with a Soul Stopage in his hand though. That's really all I could see.
Well, we'll see what Mark can pull off here on this turn 2 with this explosive combo deck.
I imagine, like we were saying, his hand's going to be quite strong. Maybe potentially a Show and Tell on turn 2. When did he crack his fetch, do we know?
I believe this to be his main phase.
This is his main phase? Right, so.
We're pondering now. Maybe we're looking for a way to...
There's 2 islands and a brainstorm in that ponder, so...
shuffle.
Maybe not. Probably
It depends
shuffle.
on the other part.
Yeah, if he doesn't have many lands, he probably wants
Being
it.
very cagey, not showing as much information.
Yeah. Maybe we could assume that he drew the ponder this turn because he didn't
that's
cast
fair.
anything on turn 1.
Yeah.
But maybe he had a brainstorm and he was holding it for that. I can't really tell. But I think if I had the ponder, I would have cast on turn 1, so we can assume he drew the ponder here.
Yeah. I like that assumption.
He seems to be pondering a lot on this decision.
Also, again, assuming that we know that assuming our assumptions from the previous turn are true and his hand's okay, he could perhaps be pondering for an answer to any permission Chris might have, like permission of his own, Spell Pierce, or Force of Will of his own.
So it seems that he drew the island, so I imagine his hand is quite mana-light, and maybe he has all the pieces, and he was like, well, I'll hopefully spike the land, but of course he drew the ponder, not the land, so it didn't really work out too well for that. But it still seems quite strong. All right, a Tundra go from Chris, not really doing much. But
Classic draw go.
Yeah, that's where he wants
That's
to
a
be.
good
He wants to be
sign.
playing lands and leaving up permission for the combo pieces that Mark's currently
It
got.
does. I think I do see a counterspell in Chris's hand, the one in the list.
The only counterspell? Yeah, that's quite good.
And
He doesn't really
Mark
have that
here.
much of a counter package. He just has 1 counterspell, 4 counterbalance, and 4 force. So it's not really too insane on that one. Like we said,
Okay.
the show and tell coming in, and then
So yeah, it looks like Mark's hand originally was 2 mana sources, a show and tell, and a spell pierce.
oh, that's,
so this
that's
is
a big play. So it seems that Mark went for a show and tell. Chris responded with a counterspell on that one, and then Mark responded with a spell pierce, and then
which got Force of Will.
which then got force of will. So
Chris winning the counter war essentially by.
which is huge because now Mark probably doesn't have as many pieces, but we can assume he has one of the good pieces. Mentor here.
Right. So this is a way for Chris to try and close out the game as fast as possible.
Yeah.
It's unlikely that after Mark's fizzled, he'll be able to go off again. Essentially, the
But
turn immediately
remember,
afterwards.
he kept quite a loose hand, so maybe he has all the combo pieces. Like you said, there's a wish.
I think there's an intuition and a wish.
Intuition? Yeah. All right. Looks to be a brainstorm drawn from the ponder that we saw. So we don't. Everything on the top of the deck now is unknown. We don't know anything that's going on there. Tarn, Misty Rainforest, and an Emrakul.
Okay.
So we know he has one of the pieces.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, we can't quite tell from the angle that we have here on the camera, and I'm sure you can't either at home. I wonder what Mark would actually have show and telled in. I can't see a massive fatty in his hand. Well, he hasn't show and telled anything, and he's got show and tell counted, but we're looking forward to seeing what he might have put in. It could be that he has double show
kept
and
the
tell.
Emrakul. I think he might have. It might
that
be
an
likely he has it. Nope, he passed a turn
passed a
back
turn.
without playing a show and tell. But he unfortunately has not brainstorm locked himself. He did draw a fetch land, two fetch lands off
2
it.
fetch lands.
And I think he brainstormed back an Emrakul on top, so he's shuffling that away.
Right.
So we know he doesn't really. He still has an Emrakul in hand, but he doesn't have 2 now, which is fortunate because that card is not great in multiples.
No. Meanwhile,
Oh, the engineering explosives we're talking about, not the way we were thinking it was going to be used. But
no, it's powerful. It's
Yeah.
I'll make 2 1/1s and give my guy +1/+1.
So what Chris is doing now is trying to pressure him as fast as he can to get this game over because the longer the game goes, Mark gets to craft a more perfect hand and have all the permission he needs to get around Chris. But it seems that Chris has got quite a good start and he's getting aggressive.
Well, so we saw Mark Aylett's Miracles deck earlier on in the tournament.
Yeah.
A lot less pressure early. And I think one of the reasons Mentor has sort of slightly revolutionised the way we look at Miracles is by this effect.
Yeah.
Now Miracles can sit back with counterbalance lock and actually be able to kill you rather than just sort of sit back with counterbalance lock and not be able to kill you.
And just not do anything to hit the entreat. Like you were saying, the best thing is this: you can switch gears. Like Chris in the driver's seat now, he's getting in and he's
Mark's got to
blocking Mark.
race to find an answer to
Yeah.
these Mentors. And whether that be Annihilate 6 or kill your opponent, it's...
It seems to. I think I can see a source of plowshares in Chris's hand like from the beginning. So we know he has another spell. So that's at least if he source of plowshares his own guy, it's another at least 8 damage on the following turn. Maybe with another. That's probably me.
So he's Cunning Wishing.
Yeah.
I've got his wish board here. We've got some spicy instants. We have 1 Force Will, 1 Intuition, 1 Kozlik's Return, which might be relevant here. 1 Release the Ants, which I assume is for the combo with 5 Minus Foresight, Emrakul, and Omniscience. 1 Stun Shock, again, very relevant here, as well as a Through the Breach and a Wipe Away.
So what do we? Oh, but the Through the Breach could be
Pretty
good hit,
powerful
'cause
if we've got... But no, he's gone with the Kozlik's Return.
that is big game. Well,
Wow. Mark pointing out that it has a triggered ability if he casts Emrakul, but honestly,
Very polite of him to give that away. So, is that a sensei stop?
I think it is, but this... what happened? Did Mark just play the control deck against the control deck
It
that
seems
was
that way.
playing the aggro
Yeah.
deck against the combo deck? I'm so confused.
It just seems to be a lot of switched roles here.
Yeah. Well, back and forth.
These sensei stops are going to be a little bit obnoxious because we can't really quite see the angle. So we don't really know what he's stopping, but it seems to be Mark is... Now he's got rid of his mentors. He has a lot of time, so he doesn't really need to...
Tons of time.
Yeah, you can just
especially
start,
because that's two. I mean, Mark doesn't necessarily know this, but that's 2 or 3 of Chris's mentors.
And the only other cards Chris actually has to... Oh, that's a sneak attack. That's...
Well, remember when we were saying that Mark has lots of time? Yeah, Chris now has no time.
Yep. He has one turn to
Yeah.
find something here.
I'm not sure if we have many outs. I mean,
I'm not sure we actually... I don't think we have any outs here. There's... actually, what he can do is he can find a terminus from his fetch and then move it on the top and then cast it to get rid of the Emrakul. But that's his...
But and that also annihilates 6, which is...
No, you do it on the beginning of combat phase.
Oh, yeah,
so it doesn't actually get to attack.
Yeah, you're right.
But but that's his only out now.
It is, and
Like, I can't see anything else.
I can't either of these.
Snapcaster doesn't do it. Doesn't have any pick wheels or anything.
He's drawing Jason Mind Sculptor for his turn, which...
That could be good enough. I guess Chris has to Chris doesn't necessarily know that Mark has an Emrakul.
Yeah,
he can
that's
assume
true.
it because he did cast that show and tell early.
Yeah.
But
honestly, one of the things I've seen Sneak and Show players do quite frequently is show and tell in a sneak attack for later on.
yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
So maybe he could assume that's the case.
Yeah. It's definitely balls to the wall to assume your opponent doesn't have...
Yeah.
I mean, when you can play around it as well, I think that Chris could have cracked a fetch before his draw step to draw, and then even spun top again to try and draw us,
But if
draw close
Chris-
to a terminus.
Yeah, that's his only way to win this game because we know
We know Mark has
he's the Emrakul. But Chris doesn't know that, so maybe he's
Yeah. I mean,
He's
because
gonna assume.
there's only 4 Emrakuls, maybe Chris is assuming a Gristlebrand, perhaps.
maybe.
Yeah.
I don't actually know the maths on this. If it's better to brainstorm to find the land and no, it's not. You're just better to sensei stop.
Yeah.
It seems to be a monetary mentor, but that doesn't really do anything. Something to note is that engineered explosives is another permanent for Chris. So when he does get annihilated, he only loses.
Yeah, because he goes to 3,
Yeah. Well,
and then
he loses all but 1 permanent. So
Yeah.
he could actually just
keep Jace.
keep Jace and get a free.
Go for the Fate Seal win. I mean,
That actually could happen. That might
Yeah.
actually be Chris's line here.
he's drawn land for the turn as well, so
I
maybe
think it's to keep you can keep the sensei top over land.
I don't know. This is really complicated.
Also, we don't actually know if Chris moved a terminus on top of his deck, so we didn't get to see properly.
I'm fairly certain he didn't since he brainstormed with Jace. That was last, and
We saw him draw 3 cards.
we did. Yeah,
Maybe
we
he had a
don't really
terminus.
see what they were.
So Mark here moving in. He says, "Do you have it?"
Okay. He picks his pen up. Declare attackers.
Or we announce a trigger.
That's good. Matt Winckle, level 2 judge, proving that he can play Magic.
Did he declare where he's attacking?
I'm fairly certain.
Because it might be correct to attack Jace here.
I don't think it's correct to attack Jace.
But he's not losing
Because
all
you
his
lose your
lands.
Emrakul, so. Oh no, Chris is just asking who you're attacking, yeah. Yeah,
Oh, is he conceding?
No.
No, he's scooping up too many permanents here.
he's counting.
I thought he was just scooping up all his permanents, but it doesn't seem that way. That's a good play from Chris. Now
Okay.
he has. Now he's locked in on his win condition. He's a Jace,
Yeah.
and a Jace in a dream. That's what
And
we call
a
this.
plow, just in case. Chasing a dream.
We're gonna hope that Mark never draws a relevant spell. And to be fair, Seeking Show does have a lot of just air here.
Dead fluff, air, yeah.
There's you can let him draw.
He's got
anything,
6 outs, 3 Guzman and 3 Emrakul, and Chris has a plow, so really only has 3
But
outs.
even just
no, he has
lands
6.
here are fine. Like if Chris just fate seals lots of lands,
Mm.
then Mark only gets really 1 big draw off the Flooded Strand.
Mm.
So it's still a game here. Like
Yeah,
it's pretty insane.
which is crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes Emrakul attacks don't win the game.
Sometimes the mentor back here. Oh, Chris knows where he's at.
Yeah,
I love this play from Chris. Just
Yeah.
really just like
straight away. So
Jason
is that Emrakul then? Because I'm pretty sure you just bottom anything that isn't Emrakul. Sorry, top anything that isn't Emrakul.
yeah.
Oh,
Ooh, is that
okay, that's game. Because you can get 3 Emrakuls.
well? This is not looking so good for our
So Chris
for our
got
Jason
brainstorm
a
on the
Dream
bottom.
hero.
Yeah, I'm afraid the second Emrakul is usually the dead.
Well, actually, maybe he doesn't play 4 Emrakul. How many
There's
Emrakuls
3
does he play?
Emrakul, which
There's
is
3
enough.
Emrakuls?
Intuition says 3. And they shuffle in. So.
Oh, yeah, so he still has the Emrakul, so
Yeah.
that's unfortunate. Oh,
Yeah.
and Chris Vincent decides that the second Emrakul is the good one.
So, we talked about, well, you talked about, Sam, the permission from Miracles.
Yes.
Chris is quite permission light in his main deck, but his sideboard includes 5 spells that look really good in this matchup.
Looks to be Flusterstorm, Pyroblast, and it's likely he's bringing in Surgical Extraction because he has a lot of dead cards, things like Swords to Plowshares, Terminus. I'm not sure Engineered Explosives is so hot, I probably wouldn't play that one.
Yeah.
But in this matchup at least.
You can even look at,
So I'd probably look at 2 Flusterstorm, 3 Pyroblast, 3 Extraction, and 2 Vendilion Cleave.
I'd also
from
consider
Chris.
Disenchant since you can hit. I mean, Chris didn't see Omniscience,
Yeah.
but he did see Sneak Attack.
But the thing about Sneak Attack is generally they'll have enough mana to make use of it.
Specifically this game, Disenchant would have been good.
Yeah,
But I think the vast
mean-
majority of games it wouldn't.
Because there actually was a short window for it to happen.
There's 2 windows, yeah, because he even had the window.
Oh, but
after
on the
he-
following turn,
yeah.
yeah. So I think maybe Chris might bring in Disenchant, but I think it's unlikely because of how
Well,
small the window is for the Sneak Attack.
So he also might be worrying about Mark's sideboard plans because oftentimes these decks can bring in cards like not Detention Sphere. Sorry, what's the one that makes spells that aren't cast in your turn cast 3 additional mana? Is it Defense Grid?
It might be, yes.
Yeah, I think it's Defense Grid. Cards like Defense Grid, City of Solitude, which is very fringe.
Do you, sorry to interrupt you. Do players actually have deck lists here?
Yeah, these are the deck lists.
Yeah, but I mean, do the players
Oh
have
no, the
deck
players don't have access to these deck lists.
lists, even though it's online?
Yeah.
Okay. So that might actually change his decision, because if he did,
Yeah.
then he would know that Disenchant
Massively,
maybe not
yeah.
the best thing.
Yeah. But it's when you 1-0 down in a 3-game match, it's really difficult to play around your opponent's sideboard hate because you only got 1 game to potentially beat it. And
But Chris is a good
Seasoned player.
I think that he knows that.
he also did he see Cunning Wish this game? Yes, he did because he Cunning Wish for a
He saw the
Kozilek's return.
the wishboard.
Yeah, it's important to know for Mark, although he's sideboarding, so he should be aware.
So we've talked a lot about Chris's sideboard, where I think he's going to bring in the Storms, the Blast, Extraction, the Cleeks, and cut Swords, Explosives, Terminus, and I think that's what all he'll change.
Yeah, you think cutting Terminus?
I think cut Terminus because there's such a short window, and when it's good,
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. and
You
I
can
keep
float
something.
one. I agree. It's a really.
I guess it's quite good to brainstorm. But
I'm
if
not
you
sure
draw
about Jace Mind Sculptor in this matchup. Oops.
that card is quite slow. I do
Yeah.
agree. Maybe you're right. Maybe cut Jace.
But
we'll
then you have
move
to worry about blue cards. I've not counted that up.
Yeah, but you're actually boarding in Flusterstorm and Cleeks.
Yeah, Cleeks
But
blue.
we'll move to Mark. So we've spent a lot of time
Yeah,
on
sorry, you
Chris.
spent a lot of time, Chris. Well,
so-
Mark's is a wish board, so there are a lot of one-offs.
And it's very hard to decide what cards you want. So I think from him, he definitely wants Besage You, because this deck, Miracle's all about counter spells, and Besage You is a perfect card
Yes.
for that. Doesn't mean means you can't do anything. It's likely he'll want Flusterstorm to counter Chris's
Opponents.
Flusterstorms.
Yeah, Flusterstorms,
And
yeah.
that's just insane if you ever
Yeah.
get that off. Likely the extra force will more permission.
Yeah, so it depends if you want to be able to wish for permission or you want to have all your permission in your deck.
Yeah, I think you probably want the just more of it in your deck instead of just like being a bit more cute with it. 'Cause you don't
I
want to
agree.
like.
I think you could even cut the wishes perhaps if you're boarding in all of the cards you want to wish for.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
wipe away is an interesting one. Wipe away means that they can't spin top in response to your. It's split second, so they have the trigger on counterbalance. You want to bounce their counterbalance almost always, and then try and go off. So you like end set, bounce counterbalance, and then go off. Unfortunately, wipe away is 3 mana, and Chris
Sometimes
wants
it's-
to be leaving 3 mana on top anyway.
Yep.
So there's a really important sub game there where we have to decide if that's appropriate.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to see if he brings in wipe away.
Yeah. So also the Pyroblast will, is that the red one? The
Yeah.
Palace Blues? Yeah. So like the Pyroblast as well. I think that's basically all he's bringing in. I think.
Yeah. I agree. We'll see how this goes.
It's very difficult.
Again,
'cause-
through the breach, just having more ways to jam.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'm not sure if he's boarding out wishes or not. It's a complicated
Yeah.
one. Because I think that by the time we've boarded as many cards as we say,
Yeah.
the wishes are the only things you can cut.
And you gotta cut a card to add a card. You know, the classic saying. So
Yeah.
I'm not really sure on this one, but it seems the players have drawn their 7s, and we're getting into game 2.
It looks like he's kept wishes in because I see a wish.
Yeah, I think Chris said he'd keep, and Mark's pondering his hand.
Doing a big think.
I think I heard him say keep. Maybe that wasn't me.
He's on the play, so if Mark's in the tank, I think.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, 0-0 in our other semi-final. I'm hearing through the grapevine.
It was David Inglis versus Rob Catton on that one. It was David Inglis' spicy four. Is it four or
Four
five
colour
colours?
cascade, yeah.
4 colour
No
cascade.
white. No enlisted worms.
No whites.
For those that don't know, that's a 6-mana 5/5 worm with cascade. Yeah, we're not playing that card. Maybe back in the day in standard that was the nuts, but
I'm sure it was a powerful one. So it looks like Mark's throwing his hand back, going to get a
Yeah.
new 6.
he's saying 1 land.
3 brainstorms.
He's saying in the chat 1 land and 3 brainstorms.
That's not really the hand you're looking for. Like, you want to be able to durdle a lot in this matchup and craft a perfect hand, but you can't overdo it because
No.
then you just fall too far behind to counterbalance sort of locks.
Yeah, that's really insightful. You've hit the nail on the head there. I think you're right.
Yeah. So he
Also,
needs-
Mark doesn't have a lot of mana sources in his deck. He's boarding 1 in, and probably not boarding 1 out because you want to hit your land drops in this matchup.
Oh, he's boarding a Besaju. Yep,
Yeah.
you were saying. But
But this is an extended. They're now debating the
Dice?
fiddle box. It's yeah.
oh, sure. Everyone is having a good time in this event, you know.
Yeah, it's important to know that we've been playing Magic for like 10 hours now, and everyone's still having a great time. These events are really, really good.
Yeah.
It's an excellent place to be.
The community here is so lovely. When I started, I didn't have a legacy deck and did limit cards, and I started playing more legacy, and I eventually qualified for this event. Modern didn't go so well. You know,
Yeah.
The blue-white control cards didn't work out, but
Yeah, seems rough.
it was a very good event. I really enjoyed myself there.
Yeah, I think we're going to do more of these. I'm looking forward to be able to be involved in both sides of the camera.
Absolutely.
Mark drawing 6 here.
Ooh, he says, is it a good 6? And we're about to find out.
It's really slow rolling. Mark,
Yeah.
really slow rolling. It's brutal.
Making me really excited to see what's going on. So
Yeah.
I can see a Brainstorm, a Delta, 2 Ponders, an Emrakul, and I can't see the 6th card.
Well, we've kept.
We
didn't even scry.
Didn't even scry.
We didn't
He's
scry.
so sure of his draws. He's like, I'm in. Snap it.
Fetch with Vulcan Ponder. Yeah, I think, weirdly, 3 Ponders is better than 3 Brainstorms because you can feel good about casting Ponder on turn 1.
Exactly. Because you can durdle more. He just didn't want the scry, you know, like he was saying. I know.
It's overrated.
He was sure of his top card. He knew it was good.
Yeah. I really like these 2 players. Got a lot of banter.
Yeah. So, 3 cards off the top.
So we vaguely know Mark's hand and probably looking for a show and tell or sneak attack effect.
Well, it looks like he's found a show and tell. I can see. I think it's a Brainstorm. And maybe
I
another one.
apologise to viewers at home. This sort of matchup is incredibly theory crafting until the turn it actually goes off.
Yeah.
Both players just spend the time working out what they got in hand.
You can't just say what's like going on because there's so many different small interactions like of counter spells. Because like maybe Mark goes for a sneak attack and Chris hands all fluster storms.
Yeah, which is crazy because of
Yeah.
course that card doesn't count enchantments.
Yep, it only targets instants and sorceries. Maybe that's okay. So a lot of very small interactions that do matter a lot. So it looks like Mark didn't shuffle off his ponder, draws the show and tell. So maybe he's going for a quick show and tell.
Even
hit.
the stream is quaking in anticipation.
Even
That's what that shaking is.
Alright. Island for Mark, another ponder. Yeah. Try to craft that perfect hand we were talking about.
Yeah. We're not seeing it quite as explosive as last game. He didn't show and tell on turn 2. That being said, Chris obviously has way more permission now, and while Mark doesn't know that for certain, I think it's fairly obvious.
So the only thing from Chris is that he hasn't cracked his scalding hands at all. I mean, he's likely wanting more lands, so he's leaving the lands in his deck to give him better chances of drawing them. So
Which might mean he has a lot of permission in hand.
it might mean he has a lot of spells, but not a lot of lands to cast on, like we were saying. Or maybe he's just holding them for Brainstorm, who knows. Well, it's very hard to craft Chris's hand in theory because we can't see
You
it.
can't see at all, yeah.
And also, he's just played 2 lands. So.
He could have boarded out all his permission and just be
And
sitting on
he's just-
yeah.
Swords and engineered explosives.
Yeah. Doesn't want to cast him because he's embarrassed.
Yeah. So the ponder resolves. I didn't see. Did he shuffle?
We shuffled and then drew the random
shuffled.
one. I've seen the part of Chris's hand. He's got Flusterstorm and a Brainstorm. So he might be Brainstorming end step here. Nope.
Nope. Just wants to draw another card. Doesn't crack his land. So he did have a 3rd land. He drew Monetary Mental for the
Yeah.
turn.
Oh.
2 cracked here.
I'm just scared.
Mark is shocked.
Sacrifices
gonna be a
2
counterbalance.
lands. I think that, yeah, we did see a counterbalance in his hand. He gets Island.
Yeah, I think he's playing around Mark's Blood Moon. He might even have boarded in Blood Moon himself, otherwise. Highly
Yeah, I
doubt
think
it.
maybe, because
I mean, Mark has a lot of soul lands, but he also can go and fetch 3 basic islands.
Actually, yeah.
And he's
you're right.
incentivized to do so anyway. So
He gets a Vulcan and island, so because he gets the Vulcan, it probably makes sense that Chris is actually boarding in his Pyroblasts.
yes, I believe Chris will board in his Pyroblast.
Yeah, so that's why he's got the red lands in his deck.
Ooh, actually, I might respond. Who knows?
Maybe a response. Who knows?
Do I have these? I have these spells I can cast. What's going on there?
He's having a think. I'll, right. Looks like we have a response here. Oh, this is less exciting. Brainstorm.
Oh, you say that's exciting, but it's very intricate.
That's I wonder what that Brainstorm is for. It seems like a bit of an interesting play here. Because he's going to Brainstorm lock himself unless he has a way to shuffle. And
It might just be that he wants to resolve the Brainstorm before top counterbalance shuts him off casting ones.
But he doesn't have the top yet, so he's really just...
Yeah, I agree. It's also at this point, what percentage of Chris's deck is ones? Like
Yeah, probably
15?
a high
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah.
So maybe he's shutting that off. Looks like he drew the Spell Pierce off that.
slightly awkward.
He's putting a Spell Pierce and a City Trace on top. So
And then he's drawing for turn.
was a Spell Pierce for turn.
Ah,
But
the
Seiju, that is
pretty big.
absolutely huge for Mark. Because now the show and tell that we know he has is resolving. We know he has an Emrakul as well. So that's
Yeah.
a very fortunate thing for Mark. Now he has his best sideboard card in the matchup.
Yeah, it's a big boon. And now Chris has to think of ways that he can interact with Mark that aren't on the stack.
Yeah.
And there aren't very many.
No, because literally, as long as he's drawing show and tells and not what's the other card? Sneak attack?
Because you can't besage you out a sneak attack.
No,
Because it's not
it's
sorcery.
not into sorcery. But it seems that
Mark pointing out that his land's fair because it comes in tapped, right?
Yeah,
That makes
exactly.
it fair. It's not fair.
not at all. And where it's good in this matchup, it is absolutely insane.
Fun fact, I bought Mark Winckle a non-foil Beseiju because I was fed up of him playing the foil one, and he decided that he didn't want it because he wanted the foil one because it's in his board, and he didn't want to leave it in the deck. I was like, come on, bro. That also feels dead cheaty, but he's not that kind of guy.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy here.
Yeah.
The Veseiju seems...
Chris with a handful permission. He's got like
Yeah, absolutely. That's what he boards in here.
Flusterstorm, just everything.
It would be absolutely insane if Chris boarded in Blood Moon for the Veseiju. That would be
Yeah.
next level technology.
Yeah, wow.
But it's
hasn't
unlikely that
fetched enough
there's only
islands, I don't
one land for that. So, Chris draws to return a Brainstorm for him.
Are we trying to mentor Chris out? Sorry.
I think that Chris now again has to switch gears and get aggressive because he can't pass forever. He has to hope that Mark hasn't crafted a good hand because he did take a mulligan and he did miss a scry. So let's.
Well, maybe Mark's hubris will get the better of him.
So we can see a spell pierce from Mark. So
Cannot hit creature spells.
Cannot hit creature spells. So it looks like the mentor is resolving. Chris cracking his fetch. Maybe casting a cantrip here. So right now we know that Mark has a.
He's left the EE in.
What is
What's
that
with
for?
that? What's that for? He's boarded in the disenchant.
He's
Maybe
boarded
it's
in,
for his opponent's. Maybe it is for like defense grid, because you can do E for 3 and then kill a defense grid, or E for 2.
Yeah, E for 2. Is there anything in the main deck he saw? I guess he can get really. I don't really know.
Can't a 0 mana artifacts, I guess.
You can't get. You can give a 0 mana artifact. Maybe he just forgot to cut it.
Maybe.
Maybe it was for.
It does
Blood.
also. It's also
I
good
was
with
gonna say
mentor,
maybe
just
for
a
Blood
0
Moon,
mana
but- yeah,
prowess
yeah.
trigger.
Maybe that's what it's for. But he does have like 10 good cards in his deck, and the rest of the deck actually isn't that bad. Like, it's pretty good. So I don't really know what he's changed. Maybe he cut the 10 removal spells and the 2 Jace, and he wanted to keep the ending. So they cut E's, he cut Jace. Maybe that's what he did.
Yeah.
So I didn't see any Jaces when he went for his deck.
No.
But did we see any Terminuses either?
Oh, interestingly, the chat has pointed out that young Pyromancer tokens are a thing. Here we
Yeah.
go. Paying 2 life. I think this is a.
Is he
Okay.
tapped 4 for free for that?
It's a show and tell.
So
Well, we've
maybe
got.
Chris has something spicy to put in from his show and tell. Unlikely. Oh, it looks like,
He's got a brainstorm.
Just-
You never know.
yeah, who knows? Brainstorm.
Notably, Chris is on 16 this time, so it's less. It's much less recoupable because you can no longer crack fetches if you're annihilated, which is
sure.
like pretty rough because most of your lands at this point are fetches.
And something to note, that actually, maybe Emrakul isn't that insane here, because Chris can make a lot of tokens off his Monastery Mentor.
I mean, that's true.
That's his one play. He has that's his play he has access to if he can't.
So, because he can still, again, might see Chris here, Force of Willing, an uncounterable spell.
Well, if he Force of Wills it with for life, and he goes to 15, and he just dies on
Oh, he dies to Emrakul, you're right.
So, he definitely
astute.
can't force to make tokens. Unless he can actually make a lethal attack on the following turn by chaining Sensei Stops. Because he does have 2
He can
forces.
show and tell one end as well.
If he has a mentor here, he could just put a mentor in and just force. His own spells on the following turn. But maybe he doesn't have enough tokens. So...
Oh, the trigger was
It
missed.
seems like he missed a trigger.
He resolved the Brainstorm.
So,
Unlucky.
Mark Winckle...
That's quite bad.
That's unfortunate, because that was his line, and it does matter against Emrakul.
Yeah.
But
So now he only has 6 permanents even after the show and tell. He has 7 after the show and tell, but that's probably not enough.
It's not looking too great for Chris here.
No.
Well, maybe Mark doesn't actually have anything.
You never know.
But I'm pretty sure I did see an Emrakul in his hand, so he...
But also, Chris has a turn, like you say. Chris has a turn.
Yeah. But it's like, not like the sneak attack where it's one attack. It's like, you have an Emrakul.
Yeah.
It's going to clock you 2 times in a row and you're going to die. And while it's doing that, it'll kill your creatures. So.
You probably don't get any profitable attacks on the second.
Yeah, it doesn't look too insane here. Chris doing a lot of thinking.
Got some
So, show and tell
popcorn munching in the
results.
background.
Yeah.
It's been a long day, guys. Commentators eat too. Oh, okay.
Omniscience.
Well.
That's new.
Well, Chris has.
Well, that's an Emrakul.
Okay, never mind. I'm going to cast this.
That is a unfortunate turn of events.
So wait, yeah, Chris can't force it because it's uncounterable.
It's uncounterable. Is Emrakul uncounterable?
It doesn't. It has protection from coloured spells.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it is uncountable, actually. I'm too confused with Emrakul the Promised End, the one from Standard that's recently banned, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Sadness.
And unfortunately, Emrakul the Aeon's Torn will make an extra turn here for Mark.
Mark goes to untap, draw, and then swing for what is essentially lethal because it puts Chris on 1 life with 1 permanent.
Well,
So it gets even better if Mark can draw a sneak attack or something on the time.
well, it's
Or just
not looking great for our Miracles player here.
Emrakul, the Untauns, can't be counted.
Chris not conceding here. He's scooping up his permanents.
I mean,
They are gone. Right.
if he goes like, yeah,
Not looking great. Mark pointing out that you could like keep your planes and spike the terminus, but then he points out that I've brainstormed.
yeah.
So we know
He's
it's
on
not
1 life, so he's got no fetches. No, just cast
Sneak
cast
attack.
sneak attack. Oh, he's dead.
He's dead. He's like, you know what? I'm going out on my own terms.
Oh, so, no, he has to pay the life to force. So
Did they
he's
not
dead.
realise?
Yeah, he's dead to force.
Oh,
yeah.
he's dead to the force.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all laughing. Wow, so losing to Sneak and Show, I do think that this matchup is very swingy, and Mark proved that
He
Beseiju.
drew the most important card in this matchup. The Beseiju, like I was saying, is just so backbreaking against Miracle because the only way they can interact with you really is on the stack.
Yeah.
And when you can't do that, then your deck isn't actually that good.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how Chris sideboarded because we did see the engineered explosives. So I don't really know what he voted in, but it'd be interesting to find out. But like chat said, explosives good versus young pyromancer. But
Yeah. And Mark has played Young Pyromancer in the past, that's important to note.
yeah, maybe that is true. Maybe these players have some information on each other, but
Yeah.
they've changed up
Yeah.
in recent times because I'm sure they've all played each other many times.
Yeah,
so-
they definitely have. They're de-sideboarding, which is really helpful, so Mark, of course, boarding.
That's very fortunate. So Mark pointing out that Chris is scumming for
So
the white-boarded lands.
we've got Cleek. We were pretty spot on. I don't know what Chris boarded out. Boarded out. Chris was just saying there he should have boarded in. He was criticizing himself for not boarding in his own Blood Moons to beat the Beseiju.
Yeah, but it's like he only has 1 Beseiju.
Yeah.
And like we were saying, that maybe that's correct, but
Yeah, it's really difficult. And also, Chris wants access to all colours of mana. Double blue for Vendilion Cleek, counterspell.
Yeah, you're
red
right.
red for Pyroblast, white for perhaps
he basically
Terminus.
just needs all his blue mana. And maybe because he has so many islands in the deck, it's fine. But
It's very difficult. It looks like Chris boarded out all of those 8 removal spells that we were talking about and the
yeah,
chases.
it's like a very difficult game. There's a lot of interactions, like we were saying.
Yeah.
This is what we're getting.
So we're going to
Oh.
join Game 3 on the other side of the bracket when our players from this semi-final have scooped up their cards, cleared away.
Right.
Unfortunately, Mark the victor there, of course. Players have players are just playing for this super special Northern League Invitational trophy now, which is obviously excellent, but slightly less feel bad for Chris.
Yeah,
I've seen this deck list and you haven't, and I think this is the one you probably need to read most, because this is the exciting 4-color Cascade versus Rob Catton.
I know. I played David Inglis in the first round of the event.
Yeah.
I won game 1, but eventually in games 2 and 3, he had the spicy 4-color cards, and I was not able to beat him.
It was very impressive. This deck list is incredibly diverse.
It looks like a lot of new. There's even some new cards, like Leovold is really new, right?
Yeah.
It's from the recent Commander deck?
Yeah.
So,
Conspiracy, but yeah.
Conspiracy, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not really aware of this.
I understand.
products.
It's like a very niche thing. But yeah, it's very new to the format because people weren't playing it because of the card availability issues. One thing that you get for Legacy, like, I remember True Name Nemesis. When it got printed, there was a Legacy GP the next weekend.
Yeah. So all those products were just bought out and no one could get them.
Yeah, no one could get them. So people were playing like 3 when they wanted 4, or like none when they wanted 4, or like.
I think I remember seeing people posting being like selling this product, the Commander product, for like extortionate amounts of money because you just can't. People need the cards.
So we're back in the booth here. Luke and Sam still commentating on the last round. The second last round of this top 8. So super spicy 4-color.
Yes, I'm excited to watch. Well, it's awkward because they've all boarded, so we don't really know what's going on.
We don't know what's going on enough. We can do some vague assessments. But it's not necessarily going to be perfect. It seems like David has picked this deck, chosen to bring this deck because it beats Grindy Miracles decks.
It does feel like that, but the thing with Miracles is they still have like the counter lock. The Sensei's top counterbalance. So it doesn't really matter like what kind of matchup you're in. You can always draw that combination and you can really get into the game.
It's one thing to know, this, like the previous Miracles deck we looked at, this has 2 Blood Moon in the sideboard.
Yes, and I imagine Blood Moon is absolutely ridiculous against him. He does have 2 basics, an island and a swamp, but more importantly, he does have 4 copies, is it? Of Death Ray Shaman to actually fix his mana if he is on a Blood Moon.
So we can see that. There's lots of opportunities for you to do that, and it sounds like I can hear David in the feature match area that's talking. A lot of removal spells for David to be boarding out, as I don't think that Fatal Push is particularly awesome.
Fatal Push isn't good.
Although it does kill Mentor, so it's like a complicated one.
Something that is actually quite important in this matchup is David can just Punishing Fire rub out the game.
I think Catton and Chris are playing exactly the same 60. I can't see a difference.
I think in the sideboard as well, it's slightly different.
Is the sideboard very similar as well? The sideboard is very similar as well.
Yeah, I think.
Chris has. Rob has 2 Wear Tear when Chris has.
I know Rob is a
something
big
else.
fan, big advocate of Wear Tear.
Yeah,
I've seen
he
him play
is.
it in a lot of his decks.
Not
Just Legacy either.
Yeah, he's.
Looks like a
So
lot.
Chris played Disenchant over Wear Tear. That's the only difference.
I don't know if that's better. I like
not
the more flexibility of Wear Tear against Miracles because you can cast it. Firstly, you can reveal it off your counterbalance for 1 and 2, right?
Really powerful.
And also you can kill the counterbalance and the Sensei stop, so they do have to draw.
We're going to head off straight down there now while we're
to
theory
the booth.
crafting. Hopefully they'll appreciate